I present to you the story of a lazy boy with the lowest class at the Hunter's Academy, but who awakens an SS of rank ability, allowing him to summon the most powerful monsters. Let's go.
Arigato!
1,000 years ago, beasts from the Black Abyss invaded the human world. Soon after, the appearance of a monument brought hope for humanity's survival. Since then, humans have received class-based powers through the monument to fight against the beasts. After many battles, they finally drove the creatures back into the abyss and reclaimed their territory. With that, Huaxia established capitals at the monument sites where annual ceremonies grant powers to students. Even so, the beasts still lurk in the shadows, making the strength of the young essential for the final victory. In year 53, the long-awaited class change day at the monument arrives. An officer announces that the ceremony is about to begin and that the monument will assign each person's class. He then reminds everyone that they must serve Huaguo with their strength as the future is in their hands. Excitedly, a student celebrates that after 18 years, he hopes to become a warrior to make easy money. However, his classmate quickly warns him that becoming a warrior is difficult as the school's success rate for combat classes is low. Then the group notices the school's lazy student Lin Qianhao and mocks him, saying the worst combat class would suit him perfectly. While they talk, the boy slowly opens his eyes. At that moment, he reflects that after reincarnating into this world, the day has finally come to find out which class he will receive. Soon, a friend approaches and asks what class Tianhao is hoping for, and the boy replies that he wishes for an S-rank talent or a hidden class. However, the other students laugh, reminding him that his last potential evaluation was only rank C. Upon checking his status, he confirms the classification and laments that he seems doomed in this life. But with a determined look, he questions why a commoner couldn't become a phoenix. Thus, the thought lingers, if reincarnation happened, there may still be hope for a good class. Shortly after, the announcer calls Class 2 from Linchen's school to step onto the stage for the class change. Immediately, a muscular student named Wang Dong gets ready. He then turns and tells the loser to watch how it's done. As he approaches the monument, the officer explains that the process takes 5 seconds. As soon as he touches the stone, a strong golden light completely envelops him. Then the official announces that the class change, guided by the sacred light, was successful. With that, the announcer enthusiastically confirms he has become a warrior. After checking the status screen, he discovers he received a grade C talent. Soon, a staff member congratulates him and instructs him to report to the guild's center for training. Nearby, two burbles comment on how lucky he is to get a class that guarantees a good job. With an arrogant smile, the boy throws his new ID card in Lin Qianhao's direction. Wang Dong arrogantly mocks Lin Qianhao, while the boy laments that his life is about to become hell. Next, the warrior's friends scold him, but he interrupts them to invite them for drinks to celebrate. Soon, the young man wonders how someone like that became a warrior and what class he himself will receive. Meanwhile, the opposing group mocks him, deciding to follow the new warrior and ignore everything else. Shortly after, the announcer calls the next student in line to step onto the stage. With a wave, he confirms his presence to the crowd watching him. Then he walks toward the monument with firm steps. Standing before the stone, he thinks that any combat or even support class would be acceptable. With his hands together, he mentally begs for a good result. As soon as his hand touches the surface, a spark of golden energy appears. The energy quickly grows in his palm. Suddenly, a massive pillar of light explodes from the monument, completely enveloping him. Surprised by the light, he wonders if this is his chance to turn the tide. The announcer and the official look shocked, not understanding what that could be. The wave of power is so strong that it knocks back the nearest students. Soon, a staff member advises him to prepare himself mentally, as everyone has a destiny, before announcing his class. Shocked, he discovers that he has become a summoner. The crowd then starts laughing, calling the class useless because its summons are expensive and weak. Suddenly, a system detects his awakening, granting him the title Abyssal Lord and an SS talent. Immediately after, a window informs him that the Abyssal Lord system activates 1 SS talent every 10 levels. In disbelief, he wonders if he really received an SS talent directly. He then realizes that this means he will have 10 SS talents by level 100. Soon, the staff member hands him his new identification card. Then the system congratulates him for obtaining the SSS talent, Demonic Sacrifice. Stunned, he is left speechless as he processes the unexpected information. The description explains that he can sacrifice his max HP instantly of all his summons. At that moment, he notices the terrible condition of permanent HP loss. Despite the high cost, he concludes that he doesn't need to fight directly and can use items to boost his life. Still, the note informs him that 100 HP equals 1 level, and with 1000 HP, he calculates he can sacrifice 900. With that, he understands that he can increase his summon to at least level 9 instantly. Even as he decides to be careful, the staff member advises him not to lose hope as life holds other paths. Lin Tianhao thanks her for her concern, but firmly declares that he will forge his own destiny. Meanwhile, the crowd comments that a summoner like him should reconsider his future. As he walks away, he feels the weight of the general opinion that being a summoner is a dead end for most. Even so, he walks with determination, promising to become the greatest summoner in the world. Hours later, upon arriving home, his sister greets him, asking what class he received. The girl then becomes visibly worried upon learning he got the class everyone considers trash. With a calm look, he simply confirms the news. To cheer him up, she promises that next year she'll become a powerful mage so she can protect him. Her sudden closeness makes him a bit flustered. Soon after, he reassures her, saying he's a powerful summoner and that she only needs to take care of herself. Annoyed by the teasing, she asks him to stop treating her like a child as she watches him walk away. On his phone, he receives a message about a meeting and wonders what it's about. With that, he decides to go to the location to find out what's going on. The teacher announces that the class performed well with 5 warriors, 8 mages, and only 1 summoner. Beside him, Wang Dong mocks his classmate, calling him a useless loser for getting the worst class. Then the teacher approaches and offers the boy a beginner's guide, acknowledging his unique situation. Gratefully, he thanks him as the teacher advises him to seek help if needed. As he picks up the dusty book, he realizes that the summoner class is truly the least popular of all. Soon, the teacher explains that the school needs data from the students and asks them not to bring shame to the class. Outside, a testing machine is ready to assess everyone's power. With all the students gathered, the official announces that the profession test is about to begin. A mage then eagerly volunteers to be the first to participate. He quickly casts a blue energy attack at the machine's target. The scoreboard shows 73 points and the official praises the solid result before calling the next one. Next, Wang Dong's sword strikes the target with a flash of energy. With a powerful move, he unleashes a flaming energy slash at the machine. His attack results in an impressive score of 89 on the board. Wang Dong then proudly poses as the official praises him for what may be the highest score in the class. Soon after, the official calls the summoner, who steps forward for his turn at the test. Facing the target, he recalls the book mentioning a summoning spell that hasn't been tested yet. With that in mind, he decides to improvise while flipping through the pages filled with unknown runes. He then begins to recite the incantation he finds in the book. A strong gust of wind forms around him, kicking up a cloud of dust. Surprised by the scene, the spectators wonder if it's actually going to work. Soon, the crowd realizes that he's truly summoning something and wonders what it could be. To everyone's surprise, a small and cute blue slime appears in the middle of the smoke. The boy is left completely speechless as he stares at the creature. The audience mocks him, commenting that the slime is useless and couldn't even fight. Disoriented, he wonders if that creature is really his summon as it hops around beside him. Next, the basic slime status window appears, showing its level 1 attributes. He's disappointed by the creature's insignificant attack power, which keeps bouncing happily. Suddenly, a classmate calls for silence and points in shock at the test scoreboard. The board then displays an unbelievable score of 888. Immediately after, the number corrects itself to a total of just 9 points. The teacher, embarrassed, clears his throat before announcing the official score. Amid laughter, he tries to comfort the boy by saying that 9 points is still a score. Lin Qianhao then asks the teacher if he can try again, receiving a hesitant permission. Given a second chance, he decides it's time to test his SS talent ability, Demonic Sacrifice. A confirmation screen appears, and he chooses to sacrifice 200 HP to begin the process. The crowd watches with disdain, questioning why he's wasting time on another attempt. As soon as he confirms, his max HP drops to 800 while red energy bursts from the slime. The creature begins to writhe, covered in a sinister red substance. In seconds, the slime is completely transformed by tendrils of dark energy. Shocked, Wang Dong and his friends scream, unable to understand what's happening. The transformation reveals a new demonic form surrounded by a red aura. Surprised, Qianhao realizes that this is his slime's demonic form. The status window shows the demonic slime with drastically increased HP and attack. With a determined look, he points to the target and commands the creature to attack. Immediately, the demonic slime charges ferociously toward the target. The creature then hits the testing machine with a red energy impact. Next, a massive explosion of dark energy completely destroys the target. The scoreboard starts flashing uncontrollably, displaying random numbers. Due to the power overload, the entire machine begins to crack and finally explodes. As the crowd stares at the scene in shock, the young man observes the result with a drop of sweat. Finally, the broken scoreboard displays a final score of 120. The crowd reacts in disbelief, questioning how Lin Qianhao managed to score 120 points. Meanwhile, Wang Dong refuses to believe that a useless boy like him could have outdone him. He quickly recalls that even the God of War only scored 101, suggesting the machine was tampered with. With that, the others agree that he must have cheated, since his score jumped from 9 to 120. The young man then thinks to himself that he only used his slime's innate ability. Next, the teacher considers that the students' accusations seem to make sense. Facing their suspicion, he steps forward and tells the teacher that he didn't cheat. Right after it, he stands in front of the testing machine. Suddenly, the machine's panel flashes with an error screen. Seeing this, the teacher silently observes the scene, deep in thought. He then announces that the machine was broken and that Lin Tianhao did not cheat. Wang Dong smugly remarks that he knew there was no way that loser could beat him. Then the students start questioning his score, insisting the initial reading of 9 was valid. The teacher declares the test void and says it will have to be redone later. As soon as they hear the decision, the students protest, demanding fairness from the teacher. The teacher silences everyone and ends the test, postponing it until the machine is repaired. Angrily, one student points at Wang Dong, blaming him for what happened. Wang Dong glares back, intimidating the other student into retreating. He then taunts the summoner, saying that a new test won't make him a genius. After that, he calls his group to head to level 1 of the Black Abyss, completely ignoring his rival. The boy decides that level 1 of the Black Abyss is the perfect place to test his demon slime. Soon, the group of students walks away from the area. Nearby, workers wonder if a student really managed to destroy the machine. One of the technicians speculates whether there's another genius on campus with such power. While walking, the student is approached by an elderly man. The old man surprises him, claiming that he has great potential as a summoner. Intrigued, he finds the phrase familiar and asks if the man is talking to him. In response, the man offers him a top-tier summoner's staff for 300 gold. Immediately, the boy is shocked at the price of the stick and accuses him of trying to rob him. The old man insists it's a special offer due to their fate, saying he wouldn't sell it for less than 1,000. As Lin Qianhao holds the staff, he senses a real power emanating from the object. Considering there are no summoner guilds, he decides to buy the rare item. The old man then reaffirms the price of 300 gold for the staff. To his dismay, he discovers that he only has 92 gold in his pouch. Embarrassed, he asks if he could get a discount for what he has. The old man then takes the money, accepting the 92 as a deposit, leaving him stunned. Next, he proposes that to obtain the staff, the boy must bring him a treasure from the Black Abyss. Frustrated, he wonders if it's too late to back out, but soon realizes this is an NPC quest. The old man then hands him a note, saying he'll know the answer when he reaches the depths. Soon after, he pressures him to place his fingerprint on the note, making the boy wonder if he's being coerced. Reluctantly, his fingerprint is marked on the paper. With the deal sealed, the old man sends him away and reminds him of the agreement. As he walks away, disheartened, a teacher approaches and asks Elder Fang what he's doing there. The teacher informs him that the test was cancelled, and the elder asks if he knows that student. He confirms that the young man is his student, lamenting that the path of a summoner will not be easy. Elder Fang agrees with a smile, stating that it will indeed be a difficult path. Soon, the scene reveals the imposing entrance to Black Abyss Level 1, the Abyss of the Cold Valley. The boy then observes the large energy portal, confirming his location. Reading the rules, he finds out that a team of 3 is required, lamenting that he can't enter alone. He then checks the leaderboard for Cold Valley's records. There, he sees that the first place of the month earns great rewards, and the current leader is Fang Changyan. He quickly analyzes the first place prize, a golden beginner's breastplate. Upon noticing the 120 HP bonus, he decides he must fight for that top spot. Meanwhile, other adventurers recognize him and mock him, doubting he'll survive in the abyss. He turns and recognizes the group that mocked him earlier. Wang Dong scoffs, saying a summoner should go home and plant vegetables. With seriousness, he replies that they should worry about themselves. The group then challenges him, reminding him that he needs 3 people to enter the dungeon. Ignoring him, the group's rank C warrior announces that he's looking for teammates. Soon, other adventurers get excited upon hearing there's a rank C warrior and feel hopeful. Immediately, a crowd of adventurers offers to join, boasting their dungeon skills. Wang Dong then smiles and points, choosing 2 adventurers to join his group. Proudly, his companions say their brother is no joke and will aim for the leaderboard. The new recruits, excited, promise not to hold them back from chasing the record. Thus, the newly formed group heads toward the Abyss portal entrance. Right at the dungeon entrance, they find a skeleton scattered on the ground. The sight of the bones visibly frightens the 2 new team members. The group's mage then warns them to stay close if they don't want to end up the same way. Wang Dong confidently orders the group to advance into the dungeon. The summoner watches the entire group disappear into the portal's glow. He then reflects that the group's 3 leaders aren't trustworthy and that the other 2 won't make it out alive. Holding a scroll, he thinks that resurrection costs are high, so it's better to get this over with. A screen then displays the boy's information, showing his S-rank summoner talent. Other adventurers notice his S-rank but quickly dismiss him upon realizing he's a summoner. With that, everyone walks away, leaving him completely alone on the entry platform. Thus, Lin Tianhao approaches the group, observing the gathered adventurers. Soon he notices Like Su, an E-rank bard considered useless for providing support. Watching her, he deduces she must have been waiting for days to find a team, so he approaches her and invites her to form a party with him. Surprised, the young woman wonders if he is truly an S-rank summoner. With a smile, the boy explains that he wants to compete for the leaderboard, but no one is willing to join him. Because of that, she decides that an S-rank summoner is an opportunity she can't miss and accepts the invitation. After the system confirms it, they shake hands and introduce themselves as Lin Qianhao and Lai Xui. Right after, he tells her that he'll handle the monsters and she only needs to stay safe. Surprised by his concern, the bard promises to be careful so she won't get in his way. With the team nearly complete, he mentions that they only need 1 more person. Suddenly, a crowd of men starts shouting, begging a goddess to wait for them. In response, the druid Su Kinger appears, ignoring their pleas and calling them losers. Immediately, Lin Tianhao recognizes her as the most popular girl at school. Meanwhile, she stares at him, wondering if he is really the infamous failure who became a summoner. Curious, Su Kinger assesses his class, questioning if it's worth joining him. To everyone's surprise, she suddenly orders him to add her to the team immediately. This sparks an explosive reaction from the crowd of admirers. Her command leaves him stunned, unsure if she's really talking to him. Then Su Kinger confirms it by touching him and holding his hand. As the men around them mourn, he thinks to himself that he was forced into this, and it's not his fault. Right after, the druid tells the others to leave, saying she'd already joined a party. With the team now complete, she invites them to enter the abyss together. Before moving forward, he interrupts to ask why she wanted to join them. Bluntly, Su Kinger reveals that she needs 2 accessories to reach the top of the rankings and prove her worth. Shocked, both teammates wonder if they've just been called garbage. Without waiting for a reply, she urges them to follow her immediately. At that moment, Lin Tianhao laments having teamed up with a spoiled princess, while Liaxui asks if there'll be only the 3 of them. He explains there's no one else, advising her to run if things get too dangerous. As they enter, they notice multiple footprints in the snow. Upon stepping inside, the trio immediately feels the intense cold of the Cold Valley Abyss. Even with his gear, he realizes the freezing cold is unbearable. Then Liaxu remembers she can use a low-level aura to resist the cold. She begins playing her lyre, releasing a magical melody. With the aura warming them, Su Kinger acknowledges that the bard is at least somewhat useful. The group quickly moves forward through the snow as they aim for the top of the leaderboard. Suddenly, the pair of red eyes gleams in the darkness of the forest ahead. In that moment, Lin Tianhao instantly senses the approaching threat. A putrid wild wolf leaps out from the trees, charging toward them. Faced with the creature, the druid identifies it as a low-level monster of the valley. With a smile, she decides to warm up with the first opponent and prepares her attack. Immediately, Su Kinger transforms into her battle form, the Spirit Cat. The summoner is surprised to discover that a druid can perform a partial transformation. With incredible speed, she darts forward like a blur toward the monster. In a swift strike, the girl leaps over the wolf to attack it with her claws. With a flurry of strikes, Su Kinger unleashes a devastating attack against the wolf. While Lin Tianhao notes that her attack causes bleeding, Liaxu is impressed by her strength. Afterward, the druid tosses the wolf's items to Liaxu as payment, claiming she doesn't like owing favors. Surprised, the young woman tries to decline the reward, saying it really wasn't necessary. Then the summoner urges them to move forward, asking them to stay close. Soon ahead, the trio encounters another group of 3 wild wolves. Without hesitation, the transformed druid rushes forward once more to face them alone. She attacks the 3 monsters simultaneously with her sharp claws. Noticing that she's wounded, Liaxu asks if she's okay, but her companion is only focused on winning. The bard offers a healing spell, but is waved off to save her mana. At that moment, Su Kinger opens a small vial of healing potion. She quickly drinks it and recovers instantly. While she heals, her 2 teammates watch in silence. After a brief rest, the group continues their journey through the snow. Even so, the feline-eared girl seems a bit surprised by what she's seeing. Suddenly, a magic circle activates beneath her feet as she walks. Immediately, she realizes something is very wrong with the trap. Then, a massive wooden club descends from the sky toward her. The impact sends her flying backward, kicking up a huge blast of snow. From the shadows, a putrid wandering corpse emerges, an elite monster. The fighter recognizes the danger, confirming it's an elite enemy. Lin Tianhao then suggests she may have triggered the monster by defeating so many wolves. Without a second thought, the girl charges forward to attack the wandering corpse. She's quickly shocked to realize that the monster is far too fast. The creature then smashes the ground with its club, unleashing a devastating attack. As a result, the druid is hit directly and falls to the ground severely wounded. Desperate, Liaxu screams for someone to help their fallen companion. The monster approaches and raises its weapon to deliver the final blow. At the last second, Lin Tianhao raises his fist and summons a demon slime. With the spell, a dense summoning smoke covers the battlefield. The level 3 demon slime emerges from the smoke, ready for battle. Immediately, the summoner commands it to use the demon's dance ability. With that, the creature unleashes a slashing attack that hits the monster head-on. The enemy's club nearly crushes Su Kinger into the ground. However, the blow misses and only strikes the spot where she had been lying. The wandering corpse looks visibly surprised by the attack it just suffered. Lin Tianhao then taunts the monster, asking who's really winning now. Taking the lead in battle, he positions himself to protect Liaxu and the unconscious druid. He then asks the bard to take Su Kinger to a safe place and heal her. As they move away, the elite monster prepares to attack again. To stop it, Lin Tianhao orders his creature to use Slime Jet. The demon slime then readies itself to unleash its next attack. It immediately launches into the air toward the wandering corpse. As it closes in, the slime bursts into a jet of corrosive liquid against the enemy. Suddenly, the wandering corpse was struck by multiple red spikes. Then the attacks continued to hit the creature's body without pause. At that moment, Lin Tianhao ordered his slime to use demonic dance against the enemy. Even so, he realized the monster's defense was too high and he needed another tactic. Despite the blows, the creature recovered and charged forward with a furious roar. Then he had an idea when he noticed that his slime might be able to melt the monster's body. Soon after, the wandering corpse raised its hammer to smash the slime into the ground. Seeing the opportunity, the young man decided to put his new plan into action. He ordered his creature to use a coercive attack on the enemy's ankles. As soon as the slime obeyed, the creature lost its balance from the hit to its leg. The acid began to melt the wandering corpse's leg on direct contact. With the limb corroding, the monster looked down at the injury with a shocked expression. Finally, the enormous creature collapsed to the ground, defeated before the summoner. Meanwhile, Su played a healing melody on her instrument for Su Kinger. The druid remained on the ground, slowly recovering from the injuries of battle. Seeing the outcome, the bard remarked on how strong their companion was. Lin Tianhao then reflected that the monster's defense was weaker on its lower limbs. That's why he had ordered the slime to attack the creature's legs specifically. The gelatinous creature then advanced, extending its spikes toward the target. The continuous strikes dealt significant damage, quickly weakening the monster. Soon after, the wandering corpse's body began to melt under the effect of the acid. With the victory, a notification appeared showing the experience points and items gained. The boy then looked at his hands, surprised to see that he had leveled up from that single battle. Su was shocked by the power, but Su Kinger said it was the summoner's skill. In her thoughts, she acknowledged that his intelligence and judgment were very sharp. Soon after, Lin Tianhao approached to ask his companion how she was doing. A little embarrassed, she replied that it was just a light injury and nothing serious. Even so, Su insisted that her healing was slow and that they needed to rest. The druid then suddenly stood up, saying they couldn't stop since they were aiming for the top. She declared that she could keep fighting and continued forward, while he asked her to be careful. Despite her determination, she began to stagger from weakness in the snow. Lin Tianhao quickly supported her, questioning the point of competing if they were risking their lives. With that, she agreed to rest, and he suggested they head to a nearby cave. They found shelter in the mountains and lit a campfire to spend the night. Once settled, the summoner announced that he would patrol outside while the others rested. Su yawned, saying she was very tired from using so much magic and needed to sleep. Moments later, she was already asleep, and Su Kinger commented in surprise at how fast her friend had dozed off. The protagonist then offered to keep watch, telling her to rest as well. Before he could leave, she called out to him and nervously thanked him for saving her earlier. Seeing his surprise, the girl defended herself, saying she's not the kind of person who forgets kindness. Completely flustered, Su Kinger turned over to sleep, asking him to pretend she hadn't said anything. Meanwhile, Lin Tianhao thought to himself that she was a very straightforward sundeer. Even lying down, she still peeked over the blanket with her face blushing. Outside, he decided to check his status screen after leveling up to level 3. As soon as the information screen appeared, he celebrated upon seeing that his attributes had increased. Although he didn't know all the details, Lin Tianhao realized that his new ability was essentially a powerful buff amplifier. With the extra HP, he noted that he could evolve the slime 4 times, but he'd need another way to raise his own limit. So he decided to convert 400 of his health points to strengthen his creature. As soon as the process ended, his HP dropped from 1200 to 800. Soon, the status screen showed that the demonic slime had evolved to level 7 and gained the split ability. Satisfied, he saw that all of the creature's attributes had increased with the new skill. Curious about the split ability, he wondered if the clone would be different from the original. With a smile, he decided to test his companion's new ability. Then the slime leaped forcefully from the ground to begin the test. The creature prepared itself, awaiting its master's command. The young man extended his hand and ordered the slime to use the split ability. Immediately, the gelatinous body began to contort and divide into 2 creatures. Watching closely, he observed as the cloning process completed. A new status screen appeared, showing the attributes of the newly created clone. Seeing the 2 slimes side by side, he confirmed the success of the new skill. Then the status screen for the second clone indicated it couldn't split again. Analyzing the data, he noticed the HP was divided and agility had increased, but he questioned the duration. Immediately, a countdown timer appeared, showing a time limit of only 3 minutes. Surprised, he wondered what could be done with such a short window. Suddenly, a noise from the cave put him on high alert. Confused, he turned to figure out what was happening inside. Soon, he realized his companions were in great danger, so he ran as fast as he could back into the cave. Inside, Su was screaming for a massive shadowy monster not to come any closer. To defend them, he ordered his slime to use its spit attack. The slime then fired a glob of red goo directly at the creature's chest. Even though the hit landed, it caused barely any damage. Shocked, the boy realized how ineffective the attack was. A status screen revealed the enemy to be a level 8 snow rabbit with high resistance. With that, Su Kinger and Su panicked, believing it was impossible to win with such a level difference. The rabbit monster let out a terrifying roar in front of them. Then the creature stared fiercely at Lin Tianhao. Desperate, Su Kinger screamed for him to watch out for the attack. He, however, remained calm, saying it was just a rabbit. Immediately, his slime fired multiple goo projectiles at the enemy. However, the giant rabbit ignored the attacks and kept charging forward at high speed. Then the creature began spinning, creating a whirlwind that deflected the strikes. As a result, the red goo projectiles were completely blown away by the wind. Before the slime could react, the monster appeared right in front of it. The creature attacked and launched the slime far across the cave. Even after a direct hit, the rabbit quickly closed the distance. It then delivered another powerful punch to the slime. The series of blows struck the gelatinous creature, causing continuous damage with each impact. Seeing the situation, Lin Tianhao ordered his slime to retreat using demonic dance and corrosive goo. The slime obeyed and retreated, while the rabbit leaped for another strike. Commenting on the enemy's incredible dodging ability, a boy tried to think quickly. While Liaxu was shocked by the monster's speed, Su Qinger explained that it was a dangerous creature that had already defeated many teams. Even so, she questioned why they were being attacked if they hadn't even entered the monster's territory. Worried, Liaxu asked if they should help since the slime's attacks were missing. Right after, the young man realized with frustration that his demonic dance was still on cooldown. A system notification then confirmed that the skill couldn't be used at the moment. Because of that, he shouted for his slime to retreat immediately. Even so, the rabbit monster kept striking the creature with a flurry of rapid attacks. Seeing the scene, Liaxu decided she couldn't just stand there and had to help. Despite Su Qinger's warning to wait, she ran straight into danger. She threw a stone at the monster, challenging the rabbit to chase her. The object hit the creature's head and it cracked the ground in a burst of rage. Then the rabbit monster turned its furious gaze toward the girl. Liaxu froze in fear as she realized she had drawn the monster's attention. Immediately, the giant rabbit charged at her and she screamed while trying to run. In a desperate move, she quickly pulled something out of her bag. Moments later, she threw a carrot at the monster, begging it not to come closer. To everyone's surprise, the giant rabbit grabbed the carrot with a pleased gleam in its eyes. In an instant, the creature transformed into a cute bunny and began eating the carrot. While the boy wondered if the rabbit was simply hungry, Su Qinger asked why Liaxu was carrying carrots. The girl explained they were part of her supplies, but soon the giant rabbit looked back at them with a threatening glare. The cute creature then began chasing Liaxu again, who panicked and kept dropping more carrots. He realized that the carrots were running out and they needed to lure and kill the monster. So he ordered Liaxu to toss her bag directly to Su Qinger. As she threw the bag, the other girl caught it with hesitation and dread. Soon, she gripped the pouch tightly, now holding the remaining carrots. The giant rabbit then turned, focusing its attention on the girl with the food. Suddenly, Su Qinger transformed, gaining feline traits and a blue aura, while questioning what he was planning. She then leaped into the air to dodge the rabbit's powerful strike. The boy stepped in front of the monster, beginning to explain his plan. With a determined look, he declared that their goal was to kill the creature. In response, the enemy roared in fury, preparing to fight. Meanwhile, Su Qinger moved at high speed around the monster, surprised by her own strength. While dodging, she shouted, asking if he was ready. With that, the young man pointed to the cave wall, ordering her to lure the monster there. Su Qinger smiled with confidence, finally understanding his plan. She then used her agility to dash toward the indicated spot. To provoke the creature, she slammed the ground with force as the monster roared behind her. The plan worked, and the giant rabbit began chasing her toward the cave wall. Even while running, the girl glanced back with a determined expression. The monster punched the wall hard, narrowly missing its target. With the impact, the creature seemed stunned after hitting the rock. Seeing the opportunity, the boy declared it was time for his slime to shine. A red goo projectile pierced the rabbit's back while it was distracted. Next, several more slime attacks struck the monster by surprise. It then revealed a trap, ordering the slime to split and spit. The giant rabbit was hit from behind by the second slime that appeared. Finally, the creature turned in shock, realizing there was a second enemy. The slime grinned menacingly at the rabbit. After defeating the giant abyss hare, the boy sighed in relief that it was finally over. Soon he realized that his creature had struggled a lot to handle a level 6 hare. He concluded that the slime's area of effect abilities were weak against single targets. Then Su Qinger angrily accused him of using her as bait for the monster. Embarrassed, he apologized, explaining that she was the only one fast enough. Right away, the girl blamed Liaxu for carrying the carrots that attracted the creature. As the other girl complied and began putting the carrots away, the boy interrupted her and asked her to wait. He realized that killing a hare granted a lot of experience and had a new idea. He explained that they needed to defeat the level 10 boss to clear the abyss. The math showed that with their current levels, they would need to kill 5 more hares. Liaxu, worried, asked if they would really be able to fight that many monsters. With a smile, he assured them that this time, they would be the hunters. Su Qinger eagerly agreed, wanting to climb the rankings, and he suggested they begin the plan. After that, a carrot was carefully placed on the ground as bait. A snow hare soon approached, attracted by the lure left on the ground. Hidden behind a rock, the group cheered as the creature fell for the trap. Moments later, the trio leaped in unison to ambush the hare. 3 hours later, they finally leveled up, surrounded by defeated hares. A system notification informed them that 5 hours had passed in the abyss. Liaxu was impressed by how fast time had gone, and Su Qinger reminded her that the current record was 8 hours. While Su got excited about the chance to break the record, Su Kinger warned that the boss wouldn't be easy. The team leader then explained that the boss commanded other monsters, making the fight a battle of attrition. Hearing this, Su asked nervously what their next step would be. Su Kinger suggested they rest first, and the boy agreed on a 30-minute break. During the pause, he took the chance to analyze a status screen. The interface showed that the blood sacrifice ability had reduced his HP. He then noticed that his HP gains were slowing down and that he'd need to fix this once they got out. When checking his creature, he saw that it hadn't gained any new skills after reaching level 9. He grew uneasy, hoping the upcoming boss battle wouldn't be too brutal. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed through the cave. The abrupt sound startled the group, and they wondered what had happened. Immediately, they all ran toward the source of the noise. When they arrived, they came upon a glowing, winged creature at the top of the cliff. The boy stared at the creature, trying to understand what it was. A system screen then revealed that it was a hidden boss, a level 10 unicorn. The creature reared up majestically, radiating its power. He was shocked to realize it was a unicorn. He understood then that he had triggered a hidden boss, much stronger than the original. As the unicorn neighed, its horn began to glow with an intense light. That magical energy began to emanate from its entire body. The boy's eyes became hypnotized by the creature's glow. As he walked forward, entranced, the slime tried in vain to alert him. He stopped dangerously close to the edge of a cliff, still under the spell. To snap him out of the trance, the slime bit his shin hard. The pain from the bite finally woke him up, and he cried out in protest from the injury. Right after, he asked in confusion why the creature had bitten him. As he recovers, the boy realizes the slime is trying to alert him about his companions. With their eyes hypnotized, Sui and Su Kinger comment on the unicorn's beauty. Under the spell, both of them walk dangerously close to the edge of the cliff. In a swift motion, he shouts a warning and manages to pull them away from danger. After the scare, the group regathers on the ground, safe from the imminent fall. Su Kinger is surprised to see the hidden boss, and Su questions her, as she was expecting the spectral leader. Then the group leader speculates that they awakened the unicorn by killing too many hares. Hearing that, Sui asks why killing other monsters didn't trigger the same result. Su Kinger laments that their original plan was simple, just follow the guide to the boss. With that, she concludes they're going to be defeated, as the hidden boss's stats are far superior. Crying, Sui asks if they can't just run away, saying she doesn't want to die. The boy explains that escape is impossible. They've already been marked by the hares they killed. The girl blames herself for bringing the carrots, believing that's why they're all going to die. He places a hand on her shoulder, trying to calm her. He encourages her, reminding her that thanks to her, they got there in half the time and only the boss remains. Trying to gather herself, she says it's just a hidden boss. He then turns around and promises he won't let the monster hurt them. Su Kinger also shows her courage, warning them not to get in her way during the fight. Moved, Sui thanks her friends for their support. Suddenly, the unicorn neighs and charges in for a direct attack. Realizing they've been spotted, the group prepares for the incoming battle. A system notification then announces that the unicorn used the horn charge ability. Immediately, energy projectiles slam into the cave wall with force. The winged creature flies swiftly across the cave sky. Facing the danger, the boy yells for everyone to scatter immediately. The next moment, a massive explosion of energy hits the spot where they had been standing. Thanks to the warning, the trio manages to escape the blast and regroup at a safe distance. The unicorn then prepares to use another of its abilities. A system screen reports that the creature used Soul Cleansing Melody. The ability strikes him hard, and he cries out for Sui as searing pain shoots through his body. Sui reacts quickly, playing her instrument to cast multiple support songs. With that, her melody reaches the unicorn, surrounding the creature with her magic. Irritated by the music, the unicorn lets out a furious roar in response. It then uses Hoof Stomp to try to crush the girl. The creature charges in with relentless force, giving her no chance to escape. Su freezes in fear, watching the strike coming right at her. At the last second, Su Kinger appears in her beast form and blocks the attack. Her transformed leg successfully absorbs the impact of the charge. With a powerful kick, she pushes the unicorn back. Then the warrior taunts it, daring the creature to attack her directly. In response, the unicorn neighs in frustration and rage at the challenge. Moments later, she dashes forward again to continue the fight. She skillfully parries the unicorn's horn strike using her weapon. While dodging, she mocks the hidden boss's strength, calling it weak. The unicorn soon leaps toward her. Immediately, the group leader shouts for Su Kinger to be careful. However, the unicorn catches her off guard and strikes with a powerful horn attack. Immediately, she feels pain and doesn't understand what just happened. Grievously wounded, Su Kinger collapses to the ground, while her friend runs desperately to her aid. As she tries to wake the unconscious girl, the unicorn pulls back into the air. With his face shadowed in rage, the warrior decides to summon his slime for the fight. Then he firmly declares that now it's their turn to attack. At that moment, a system screen reveals that the demonic creature now possesses a new split ability. Next, it takes on a threatening form, ready for battle. The unicorn turns to face its opponent with dark, glowing red eyes. With that, the entity leaps onto the creature and manages to wound it with a surprise attack. The red beast prepares for an even stronger strike. In a precise blow, the slime pierces the unicorn's body, causing it to neigh in pain. Witnessing the scene, Sui is amazed to see that their ally is truly overpowering the boss. Then the boy explains that the enemy's weakness is dark element attacks, perfect for his summon. With a determined look, he commands it to keep attacking. Obeying the order, the slime fires another red projectile at high speed. The unicorn howls in pain from the creature's relentless strikes. Wounded, it falls to the ground and the slime positions itself over its body. At that moment, Sui notices that the creature is trying to fly away to escape the battle. However, the boy declares with conviction that he won't let it flee. He then commands the use of corrosive goo and demonic dance. The substance liquefies and transforms into multiple red projectiles. Then, it regroups into a spiraling form ready to strike. The slime hits the unicorn midair with a series of precise blows. In the blink of an eye, the red creature's shadow hovers over its enemy. One final powerful attack lands squarely on the boss's chest. The young warrior praises his summon for its excellent work upon seeing the result. As smoke rises, his companion celebrates the impending victory. Suddenly, a mysterious mist begins to envelop the fallen creature. The unicorn releases one final wave of energy, surrounded by a brilliant aura. Immediately, Lin Tianhao shouts in desperation for everyone to cover their ears. Amid a vortex of energy, the creature charges forward for a final strike. Because of this, he orders the slime to dodge by using its split ability. Even so, the enemy's horn hits the creature directly on impact. However, it manages to split just in time, letting the attack pass through its body. As a result, the unicorn charges past while the slime separates into two on the ground. The creature then recovers and uses Hoof Stomp to strike again. At that moment, the summoner realizes time is running out and commands an attack with corrosive goo. Both slime halves obey, preparing for the offensive. As the unicorn stomps onto the slimy mass on the ground, one of the halves leaps to strike. The creature then moves quickly toward the enemy's face. Next, it lands a precise hit. At the same time, the unicorn's hooves become stuck in the corrosive goo coating the ground. The slime grins victoriously as it continues its assault. At last, the enemy writhes, suffocated and corroded by the slime's relentless, unforgiving attack. A system notification appears, warning that the unicorn has entered a state of fury. Startled by the alert, the young warrior shouts for the slime to retreat immediately. Quickly, the viscous creature detaches from the enemy, who falls to the ground, gravely wounded. Then the red entity returns to its master's side. Exhausted, the mystical being simply watches the group in silence. However, Lin Tianhao senses something is wrong, but doesn't understand what. He wonders why the enemy suddenly stopped attacking. Soon, his gaze is drawn to something strange on the ground. From the spilled purple blood, small green plants begin to sprout. At that moment, Su Qinger stands up and urges him to deliver the final blow. While Sui also offers to help, he shouts for them to wait. Impatient, the girl ignores the warning and leaps in to finish off the creature. The boy's eyes fill with panic as he watches her recklessness. With a swift motion, the warrior strikes the enemy with her claws. She then stands triumphantly over the defeated body, holding its core. In its final moments, the unicorn begins to whimper as a tear rolls down its cheek. Startled by the sight, Su Qinger throws the core away and takes a step back. With her face frozen in shock, she finally realizes the creature is crying. Suddenly, a pillar of green light shoots toward the heavens, destabilizing the entire cave. The sharp, piercing sound of the explosion forces the entire group to cover their ears in pain. Moments later, massive chunks of rock begin falling from the ceiling. Then a huge sphere of dark energy materializes in the air above them. Seeing the danger, Lin Tianhao desperately commands his creature to swallow the sphere. The slime quickly expands and wraps his body around the ball of energy. With a loud cry, it absorbs all the power contained in the dark mass. Inside the creature, the unicorn's core begins to dissolve slowly. With a satisfied smile, the boy declares that the absorption was a success. Even so, he realizes the area is collapsing rapidly. Worried, Su warns him of the danger and urges him to move to a safer spot. However, a massive rock falls right in front of her, nearly crushing her. Seeing the imminent threat, Su Qinger leaps toward the boulder to save her companion. With a swift strike, she shatters the large obstacle blocking the path. She then runs with agility along the collapsing cave walls. As the slime protects the group, Sui asks what's happening. Lin Tianhao explains that the death of the guardian is causing the local magic to dissipate. Suddenly, he realizes something terrible and screams in denial. A gigantic rock is plummeting from the ceiling toward the unicorn's body. Urgently, he commands his creature to split and protect the mystical being at all costs. The slime responds with a sound of affirmation to its master. The red creature splits and dashes toward the fallen target. It then throws itself over the unicorn's body to shield it from the impact. The massive rock slams into the defender with full force, crushing it against the ground. Even under pressure, the entity holds its ground to protect the wounded companion. Soon after, the creature lets out a strange sound, feeling the crushing weight. With a final effort, the slime manages to shield the unicorn, saving it from being crushed. After the battle, the unicorn finally collapses to the ground in agony. With the monster fading in the background, Sui notices that the mountain has stopped crumbling. Then the boy calls everyone over to take a closer look at the creature. The young warrior approaches, confused, trying to understand what's happening. As he kneels, he hears Sui explain that unicorn blood has healing properties. He then gently touches the wounded creature. Even so, Sukinger insists they should kill the unicorn and leave the abyss, but Lin Tianhao stops her, saying not yet. Furious, she confronts him, asking why he's getting in her way. At that moment, Su intervenes, stating that something feels wrong, which surprises their companion. Looking at the wounded being, Sukinger wonders what it was trying to tell them. Meanwhile, the boy continues to watch the scene silently and seriously. Suddenly, the unicorn lifts its head and lets out an agonizing cry. The creature thrashes violently, throwing the two girls backward with its scream. With that, Sukinger declares there's no reason to wait and that they should finish it off. However, he asks her to wait. Annoyed, she warns him not to get in her way again. Moments later, the unicorn collapses lifelessly onto the ground. As its body rests, its stomach begins to glow. The summoner then alerts the others that there's something inside its stomach. Surprised, the warrior stares at him, not understanding the situation. Suddenly, a small winged unicorn emerges from the body, prompting her to ask if it's another creature. Seeing the new being on the grass, she continues to wonder if it's a new unicorn. She then asks if the boss can reincarnate and decides to kill it before it recovers. But the boy steps in front of her, blocking her advance. He stops the attack and asks her to wait. His gaze remains firm and resolute as he faces her. Even so, he doesn't back down an inch. Unfortunately, a drop of blood falls from his finger. It lands on the baby unicorn's horn. Immediately, the blood is absorbed and the horn begins to glow. Sukinger then demands to know what he's doing. Soon after, a message appears announcing that a contract has been sealed, leaving both girls in shock. The summoner simply watches the scene in silence. Then a green energy rises from the grass toward him. Suddenly, a yellow beam of light shoots from the creature toward his face. The light pierces his forehead, forming a glowing mark. A status window appears, revealing the juvenile unicorn's information to the boy. He then observes the small creature resting in a circle of light. Smiling, he confirms that his hunch was right. He explains that the mother was trying to protect her child, but he hadn't expected to form a contract. Looking at the newborn being, he celebrates now having two summons. The warrior approaches, confused, wanting to know what's happening with the unicorn. Suddenly, Sui asks why the ground is trembling again. The ground then begins to crack violently in all directions. Sukinger screams for everyone to run, wondering why they're still standing there. Ignoring the danger, Lin Tianhao kneels and promises that he'll take good care of the baby unicorn. As the baby unicorn dissolves into light, a slimy creature approaches from behind Lin Tianhao. Right afterward, a system window displays the items obtained from defeating the creature. Realizing the danger, he panics as the rocks begin to break apart. Then, a new message congratulates him for breaking the record. Even so, the young man remains tense as the ground continues to shake. From a distance, Sukinger shouts, asking what he's doing and urging him to hurry. With that, he finally launches himself forward to escape the area. The boy leaps across a fissure, with the slime hot on his heels. Desperate, Sukinger and Su scream his name as they see him in danger. Unable to hold on, he falls amid the collapsing debris. As he's falling, a screen pops up asking if he wants to exit the dungeon. Without hesitation, his hand moves to confirm the exit. His body dissolves into particles of light just before being crushed. Moments later, Sukinger and Sui also begin to dematerialize. Finally, both reappear safely outside the dungeon. Relieved, her friend murmurs to herself that she thought she was dead. A moment later, the boy also reappears and Sukinger runs toward him furiously. She grabs him by the shoulders, while he repeatedly pleads for her to calm down. Meanwhile, the crowd comments that the leaderboard has changed, though they doubt Fang Chengyan's record was broken. As a portal opens, everyone stirs in excitement to see the supposed record-breaking team. As soon as they emerge, an adventurer approaches the group and asks if they broke the record. However, another man scoffs, calling them idiots and saying they must have been forcefully ejected. Angered by what she hears, Sukinger explodes with rage while Su and the boy try to restrain her. Ignoring the provocation, he turns to observe the portal carefully. With a smirk, Wang Dong points to the portal, confirming that the team he was waiting for has arrived. Then he turns and smirks mockingly as he notices Lin Tianhao has emerged too. He laughs, surprised that a loser like him made it out alive, assuming he was forcefully teleported. Another member of his group points at Sukinger, asking why the school beauty is with a loser. With disdain, she tells them to get lost, calling them filthy trash. The provocateur then lashes out in anger, accusing her of acting shamelessly. Wang Dong coldly orders Yun Fei to back away from her. He then turns to the boy and asks if he now understands the difference between them. Shen Hao lets out a small, mocking laugh. With a confident smile, he tells him to open his eyes and ask, "What difference are you talking about?" Furious, the bald man yells, demanding to know what he just said. At that moment, a notification announces that the rankings have been updated. The screen then reveals the current first-place holder, Lin Shenhao, leaving Windong stunned. In disbelief, Yunfei also yells in shock at the news. Another one is left speechless, questioning how he could possibly be first. Shen Hao then flashes a smile at his rival. The leaderboard screen finishes updating, confirming his name at the top. With that, the crowd erupts with comments, shocked that he surpassed Fang Chengyun's record. The men who had mocked him before called him trash and scream that he must have cheated again. Yunfei backs the accusation, saying if he cheated on the school tests, the leaderboard must have been rigged too. Upon hearing this, other adventurers begin to wonder if he really is a cheater. With a serious look, the young man calls him ignorant, explaining that it's impossible to cheat on the Black Abyss leaderboard. Suddenly, Yunfei shouts furiously, demanding to know who dares to interrupt him. Upon hearing the voice, he freezes in place and starts sweating in fear. From the portal, the imposing group of Murong Yi emerges, with their high-level stats visible to all. Meanwhile, the crowd reacts in astonishment, impressed by the arrival and presence of the Murong siblings. Amid the commotion, the boy wonders who this Murong family might be. He observes the two, noting they're difficult to obtain titles and questioning the reason for their presence. In his thoughts, he reflects that powerful family classes usually use specific portals. However, he also recalls that some of these families form teams to enter alongside commoners. Seeing the full group approaching, the young man wonders what they could be doing there. Soon, Wang Dong approaches and politely introduces himself to Murong Xue. Being completely ignored by her, he freezes in embarrassment. Outraged, Yunfei questions why she would ignore his brother, a sacred warrior, in favor of a loser. Murong Xue casts a look of disdain, lamenting that someone like him could appear among the sacred warriors. Infuriated by her comment, Yunfei shouts at her, demanding to know what she just said. Windong interrupts, raising a hand in front of his face to silence him. He then tells the girl that she can despise him all she wants, but reminds her that Lin Tianhao is trash who cheated. At that moment, Murong Yi tells the summoner that he was lucky this time, but next time he'll witness true power. As the group walks away, Su Qinger remarks with relief that the loud dogs have finally left. With a smile, Su's brother approaches and identifies him as the one who changed the Black Abyss rankings. He then extends a hand in greeting, surprising the boy that he was being approached. Seeing his hesitation, Murong Xue calls him a fool for not accepting her brother's handshake. Murong Yi calmly scolds her for the comment. Still surprised, the young man awkwardly returns the greeting. Suddenly, Su Qinger intervenes and grabs his hand. She then confronts the girl, asking if she doesn't see that he's already teamed up with her. With an annoying expression, Murong Yi asks her to step aside as he's speaking to him. Su Qinger then pulls him, accusing them of trying to steal him away, and calls her friends to leave. However, Yi's sister stands firmly, saying she doesn't want to waste time either, and that they want him on their team. The crowd watches in shock, realizing that the Murong family is trying to recruit the record-breaking summoner. Determined, Su Qinger refuses to step aside, thinking she can't give him up or she'll lose the record. One of the group's companions insists, asking her to move so they can take him. Watching from afar, other adventurers comment that it's best not to go against the powerful Murong team. Worried, Lai Xui turns and asks if he really doesn't want to join their team. In response to Lai Xui, Su Qinger angrily states that he wouldn't dare. Murong Yi then says that instead of deciding for him, she should ask what he wants. He then turns to the boy and formally invites him to join their team. A system window appears, displaying the invitation to form a party. Su Qinger tries to interrupt, insisting he doesn't need to respond. However, the summoner interrupts her with a surprising and simple sure. The unexpected answer leaves Su Qinger and Lai Xu completely shocked. With a confident smile, he reaffirms his decision. In disbelief, the girl turns to him and asks what he just said. Beside her, the friend covers her mouth and whispers softly, asking why. Satisfied, Murong Yi praises his wise choice, calling him a smart man. With that, he asks the new ally to formally accept the invitation. The boy then turns to the system screen, ready to confirm. Being held back, Su Qinger desperately screams for him not to do it. Murong Yi smiles and says that together, they can break new records in a win-win situation. To everyone's surprise, the boy's hand moves and presses the button to decline the invitation. The decision leaves Su Qinger and the other members of her team completely stunned and speechless. Annoyed, Murong Xue demands to know what that attitude means. With a smile, he calmly reassures her and says they can ask him to join, but only if they agree to a few of his conditions first. Furious, Murong Xue scolds him, saying it's already a great favor considering he's just a summoner. Then the young man turns to leave, saying it's fine if they don't want to talk. Murong Yi stops him at the last second, asking what his conditions are. With a faint smile, he replies that they're just a few small and simple demands. Next, the summoner lists his 3 requirements. Everyone must follow his commands. No one can steal his experience, and all monster drops belong to him. Murong Xue's team is incredulous at such outrageous conditions. The crowd murmurs about the bold move, realizing it's a genius trick to place the Murong family under his control. With arms crossed, he waits for the response, stating he'll join as soon as they agree. Murong Yi's team members protest, telling their captain he can't accept and that this is an insult. Standing beside him, Su Qinger smiles subtly, clearly satisfied with the turn of events. She then taunts the other group, asking if they can't accept and challenging them to climb the rankings on their own. As the crowd murmurs in awe at her boldness, Sukimura watches everything with a pleased grin. One of Murong's team members loses his temper and says he'll teach her a lesson. But Murong Yi stops him, reminding him of the reason they came here in the first place. With a smile, the leader asks why they're being provoked if he has no intention of joining. The young man replies that he can't stand people who use power to steal from others. Infuriated by the response, Murong Yi points at him in anger, left momentarily speechless. He then warns him not to grow complacent, for his joy may turn into tragedy. With that, he turns and announces they are leaving. As the group walks away, Sukimura waves mockingly, telling them to just go already. Furious, Murong Su vows to remember him while he celebrates in the background. Relaxing, the summoner calculates that 2 more trips to the Black Abyss will get him to level 10. Suddenly, he feels a strange and unsettling sensation. Beside him, Sukimura and Lake Sui explode in rage, realizing they were tricked the entire time. Startled by their reaction, he gestures frantically, asking them to let him explain first. Soon after, his desperate scream echoes across the vast landscape. While Sukimura and Lake Su go off to resupply, they leave him lying on the ground, moaning in pain. A system window appears, showing a cooldown timer of more than 1 hour for the next entry. Sitting on the ground, he complains about the pain and how cruel they were. With over an hour to wait, he decides to find a place to rest. Wandering through the forest, he reflects that the unicorn experience helped him reach level 6. Next, he realizes he still doesn't know the unicorn's abilities. Determined, he prepares to test his new summon. The young man steps into his summoning circle and calls for the creature to appear. With a wave of his hand, he specifically attempts to summon the unicorn. A bright light bursts from the magic circle as the summoning is completed. The glow is so intense he has to shield his eyes. When the light fades, only mist remains in the area, leaving him confused. Panicking, he searches for his summon but finds nothing. Then a system message informs him that the summon failed and he should check its status. Not understanding, he wonders what could be wrong. A new window explains that the summon hasn't hatched yet and asks if he wants to proceed with incubation, which he accepts. Next, the screen displays a 3-day countdown for hatching, leaving him stunned by the long wait. Upon seeing the long incubation time on the screen, the boy decides he'll simply have to wait. Then he remembers that he still hasn't checked the loot from the completed dungeon. With that, he prepares, eager to see what items he received. Soon, a mail icon appears on the screen, leaving him confused. When he opens the message, he discovers it's a gift package for breaking the record, earning him the title the fastest man. Even so, he's shocked and questions the meaning of that title. Setting the title aside, he decides it's more important to check the gift package. The description states that the package may contain high-level equipment, materials, or potions. With determination, he decides to open the package right away. 2 chests appear in front of him, and he chooses to check the mission completion one first. In the first chest, he obtains armor and 2 experience potions, considering it pretty lucky. Then he turns to the other box to see what's inside. The lock on the second chest releases. The summoner is visibly surprised by the contents. To his astonishment, the chest contains a silver-grade necklace and other valuable potions. A screen explains the 9 rarity levels of equipment from common to divine. With that, he celebrates the luck of getting silver-grade gear so early. Next, he decides to equip the new items immediately. A powerful aura soon surrounds him, and he realizes how much of a difference the gear makes. A determined look appears on his face as he feels the new power. As he opens the status screen, he checks all the improvements to his attributes. He then notices that his stats have greatly increased and that he still has 2 skill points available. Without hesitation, he decides to invest everything in the skill fully armed. The screen confirms that the skill has been upgraded to level 3, doubling the beast's attributes. Satisfied, he comments that the upgrade will help save time in the dungeons. Then he decides that the next step is to strengthen his slime. After the upgrade, the demonic slime reaches level 9, now showing an intimidating appearance. When a new screen appears requesting sacrificial blood, he questions what that could mean. He's surprised by the word advance and wonders if the creature can evolve further. The screen informs him that sacrificial blood is required and that 6 more levels are needed for advancement. Anxious, he wonders what happens upon advancing and whether it grants new abilities. To his frustration, he realizes there's no description about the effects of advancement. With determination, he decides that only by advancing will he discover the result. Thus, he taps the button to confirm the sacrifice. Immediately, his health bar starts dropping from 1100. Soon, the bar stops at 500. While a notification confirms the sacrifice's success and the reduction of max health. The slime then begins advancing with a strong red energy, and he exclaims that it's coming. Next, a vortex of red energy completely envelops him. The force of the energy makes him cough violently. Meanwhile, he remains engulfed by the intense red aura. At the end of the process, his face shows an expression of pure shock. In the Black Abyss Plaza, Sukimura wonders where he went as the meeting time has arrived. Suvim, like Su, suggests she check his location on the party panel. Agreeing, Su Kinger says she'll take a look. On the map, she sees that he ran into the forest and wonders why. Determined, Su Kinger decides to follow him to find out where he is. As they enter the forest, like Sui tells her to wait. The red energy dissipates, revealing the boy's silhouette in the middle of a clearing. Still dazed, he asks what that creature is. Before him, the energy transforms into a red slime girl who makes a sound. The young man is startled by her appearance. Completely embarrassed, he wonders why she's not wearing clothes. The slime girl looks at him with an excited expression. Suddenly, she steps closer and he asks her what she's doing. With a sharp squeal, the creature jumps toward him. Then she knocks him down in an unexpected hug. The slime girl gazes at him with joy. Meanwhile, he is utterly embarrassed and tries to get free. Not understanding, the creature watches him with curiosity. With a gentle nudge, he tries to get her attention to let him go. Soon he pushes her away, shouting that he wouldn't react to a summoned creature. Then he quickly retrieves a piece of clothing from his inventory. With the outfit in hand, he offers it to the slime girl. The creature looks at the fabric with a confused expression. The slime's body begins to absorb the clothing he offered. After the transformation, the slime girl appears wearing an improvised dress. With a sigh, he says that the outfit was meant for her. He then asks her to raise her arms so he can help dress her properly. As he dresses her, he wonders if he's accidentally become a parent. A notification informs him that the creature's defense has increased slightly. The summoner concludes that humanoid creatures can indeed use professional equipment. Curious, he decides to check the new status of the advanced slime. Soon, the screen reveals a significant level and attribute increase as well as new abilities. He studies the details, concluding that the advancement skills are powerful. From that, he decides he needs to test the new abilities at the next opportunity. Meanwhile, Su Kinger wonders why he went so far into the forest. Looking at the map, she realizes they are actually nearby. Then she hastens Li Su, saying that he's just ahead. Hiding behind a tree, Su Kinger finally finds him. To her surprise, she sees him on the ground with the slime girl. Moments later, Sui arrives, exhausted, and asks if they found him. Sui's face turns red with embarrassment and shock at the sight. Without hesitation, she points and shouts, asking what he's doing. Caught off guard, he turns and asks why they're there. Su Kinger then angrily accuses him, asking if they're interrupting something. His expression shifts into pure panic at the accusation. A scream accusing the summoner of being perverted echoes through the forest, followed by his groan. Still, Su Kinger irritably blames him for not explaining that it was the advanced slime. Desperate, he asks if they even gave him a chance to explain. Moments later, he composes himself, opens a portal, and asks why they came all the way there. Su Kinger responds that the meeting time was over and they needed him to enter the abyss. He then admits he was resting and didn't realize the time had passed. Soon after, a cistern window appears, confirming their entry into Cold Valley Abyss. Hey everyone, did you enjoy this story? I really liked it. If you want to follow the next part, make sure to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. See you in the next story, guys.